guys, it's Adam Aquino from AA Motorworks. I figured I'd do a video, kind of doing a documentary on what's going on with Betty this coming season. I worked on a customer's / friend's car by the name of Clint Fletcher. He's and I'm really impressed with his video editing skills, so asked him if he'd help me out with just doing some quick blurbs on what's going on. So basically, last season I did a race in Bakersfield, Truck Wars, and went out there on a fresh transmission, and first pass I left a little hard, didn't really realize how sticky the track was. It was prepped really well. I guess there were some pro guys running the day before, so it was sticky out to 330 at least. So I heard a sprag after tearing down that transmission. Heard this cracked the sprag, the plastic portion of it, so it's roller clutch. And then truck wouldn't do anything after that. So after bringing the truck back to the shop, I put it in the air and I started asking around. People said check the trans obviously, but then also check for crank walk. And I never checked for crank walk ever. Never really kind of factored that in. And turns out that Betty, however many miles she had it, may have had it before, may have happened right then, but I had about an 1/8 inch of crank walk. So at that point I just stopped driving her, just pulled her in and out of the shop, and kind of came up with a game plan on how to go about fixing her correctly. I've always wanted to do a built motor, and I never really, kind of caught me off guard, so I never really planned on it until this new year, 2017. So this is what basically so far half of the motor that's came about. I did a lot of research, did a lot of asking around on what I should do, what I shouldn't do. One of the biggest things that I had a question on was sleeves and how to go about sleeving it properly, and contrary to what what's up Chase from Chase Fleece, said I should do, I still went with stock bore 6/7 sleeves. They're custom spec by basically what I kind of dreamed up in my head as a safe thickness without removing too much meat from the cylinders. So it's a sleeve made by LA Sleeves, spec'd out my specs. It has a flange on top, so it actually locates on top of the stock sleeve, parent sleeve, and allows for enough meat to cut a fire ring, and the fire ring actually sits on the new sleeve. So it's kind of a cool deal. Hit me up if you want them. I can get you a set. As far as so basically with Chase and Drew and bunch of all the big names in the Cummins game, they kind of steered me in the right direction. Ryan from Hardway, Ryan Milliken, obviously, has been a huge proponent in helping me out with this motor. I have Waggler rods, stock crank, just polished. Bearings is a Cleveite H series tri-metal bearings. I wanted to use Kings, but King doesn't have tri-metal bearings. They only have bimetal. I wanted to go with a little harder material. Cleveite has them ready to go, so I use those. Piston wise, I went with Industrial Bull, Marine, QSB, whatever you want to call them, stock bore pistons. Made by, actually got the McBee, Interstate McBee, so whether I got OEM Cummins or not, whatever, I had the second rings cut by Total Seal, so the second rings are gapless, or the second ring, compression ring. What else did I do? I went with, oh yeah, the main studs, or main bolts, which is kind of a lot of people have been wondering what's going on with that. So Chase has actually been testing 9/16 main bolts with a stock girdle, and just utilizing the factory girdle. You cut down the main caps a little bit so the heads of the new bolts will fit. But basically, I went a little different route than most people do. I didn't do a Gorilla girdle. I didn't do any of that. I went with 9/16 main bolts, drilled and tapped the block. For these gnarly bolts, they go to like 180 foot-pounds. I mean, they're beef. If anyone has any questions or wonders what's going to happen, we'll just wait and see. I have no problem spinning this thing to 5K, so yeah, proof is in the pudding. What else did I do? I did a bunch of little accessories. You know, I did the D&J timing cover, Keating front bolt-in plate, freeze plug. Did the fuel pump cover. Had a bunch of shit powder coated. I got the Hardway mounts. I've had those before, so I had the Hardway motor mounts. D&J freeze plugs. Did a little custom heater hose setup. That way it tucks the lower heater hose out of the way, not in the way of the manifold and a downpipe. I got the straight flange going, so it's going to be a little bit more of a clearance issue if I would have ran a factory heater hose setup. So I did a little custom dealio there. A bunch of more stuff. I'm waiting on the head. The head will be done soon. It's getting port and polished. I'm running a Banks side draft, or I guess you call it a side draft. I don't even know what you call it. Banks manifold, only one they make. Had it coated. Cut a bunch of the bullshit bosses off. Fitted it for a 6/7 rail. And I got some titanium spacers that my buddy Adrian's making. Shout out to Adrian. He's my best friend. He's been doing some cool shit for this truck that not a lot of people would really see unless you really look at it or I pointed it out. But shout out to Adrian Williams, my homie for life. And yeah, he's been huge with helping me out, just whether it be pulling out the motor or just giving me ideas, bounce ideas off him. He's building a badass twin turbo 56 F100, so look out for videos on that. I'm sure you'll see videos on that, so look out for those videos. Switching up to a fleece bracket, pretty much the whole CP3 kit. Twin fleece 10mm pumps, the set of power flows. And big shout out to Lenny and Brian and all the guys out at DDP. They reworked Betty's injectors with new nozzles that'll work with the wider bowl, the 124 spray angle. It's got the new DDP nozzles that should perform great. There's been good testing with Dustin Jackson's Pro Street Lightning, and they seem to work really well with his truck. So I don't see a reason why they won't work well for Betty. They're pretty much the same specs. They float out the same. So yeah, big shout out to DDP. They've always been very helpful and quick turnaround. I mean, they turned around the injectors in a day or two, and shit, I don't even have the fucking cylinder head yet. So anyways, I made some new chromoly links for the front. Suspension links, that's just little crap. I got a Ron Davis radiator that you might have seen. I posted up about selling those radiators. I got a couple guys running around with them. They're saying that coolant temps haven't been going over 180. Like, it's really hard to get that thing to build heat. So the radiator's doing work. You pay a hefty price tag, but people that have been running them have said that their temps are spot on, and it's hard to really build temp. And you know, any Cummins guys knows that at the end of the track, you know, our coolant temps flash up to what, 220, 230, cool down. So hearing that, I really am looking forward to seeing some data on what Betty's coolant temps will be at the end of the track. I got a carbon hood on the way. I got a carbon fiber valve cover from Old Skool Fab. Big shout out to Randy at Old Skool Fab. He does remarkable work, and the valve cover is a work of art, and it's light. I'm sure I can put it on the ground and run it over with Betty, and it'll hold up just fine. It's a really awesome piece. It looks super strong. It's light. It's his new design. Doesn't leak. What else? Yeah, tons of stuff going on with this truck. Oh yeah, oil pan. Cannot forget about the oil pan. King Speed oil pan. It's deep, 3 inches deeper than stock. Shout out to Chase and the guys there at King Speed. They helped me out with the oil pan. Super nice piece, and it's one of those things where I like to build things right the first time, and I don't like to have any regrets when it comes to once the setup's going. It's like, well, all these what ifs. It's like, just get it done, struggle it out and get those parts. Yeah, and I'm sure there'll be updates as we go along. The cylinder head should be done end of this week. So this is the second week of May, so cylinder head should be done soon. That's all I can really think of. The build's coming along. Everything's going together well. Yeah, and also thanks to Eric at Brown's Diesel for cutting the firings for the block. That was a huge help. I don't have that cutter yet, so he did it right there for me on a Saturday morning, and I got to go back to get the head cut. But yeah, I will see you guys around, and stay tuned for updates.